Welcome back to another episode of a very basic space program. Last time we launched a load of satellites and did some contracts, and one of the ones that it opened up was early communications network. And given the problems I've been having, I think we need to have a good long look at this. So please join me. Right, so I'm looking at these early communications network contracts. You can either do 4 satellites or you can do 3 satellites. And it's actually quite interesting. So they've got some certain characteristics already in them. So for the 4 satellites, you've got to have a periaps above 2,000 kilometers, 2,600 kilometers. The 3 one is actually higher, and I'm assuming the reason for that is to do with line of sight. If you actually put 3 satellites into orbit below that height, they can't actually have line of sight if they're equidistant around the orbit. So that's obviously where that is. And the 4 obviously is less because you can actually be lower down and still have line of sight to the next satellite. That's one of the differences. The other one is funding. So the 3 network is you're looking at 240,000. The 4 network, you get the same start, but you get more. So you're looking at 330,000. So I think we're going to go for the 4, primarily because it can just be a bit better. So how are we going to do it? Well, first of all, let's go and see what we can do. We can have a look at one of our sort of already designed satellites. We need 125 units. We're going to accept that. And let's go and have a look at building something, I think. So before we actually look at anything, I'm taking you out of KSP. That's right, we're going to look out of KSP. We're going to look at something called the Resonance Orbit Calculator. And you can actually, if you Google Resonance Orbit Calculator, Kerbal, anything like that, it will come up. There's a link there. If you really need it, please ask me. I'll put it down below, or I'll try and put it down below. I don't know if I'll put it down below. Just ask me and I'll try and find it. So what I've done is we've set it to real solar system. We've set it to Earth. I've said I've got 4 satellites. And I could have just said, put them equidistant and choose an altitude. But what I really wanted was I want my periaps. So what we do is we put it into an orbit. We'll put the craft into an orbit where they have an apoapse, or one of the points, either apoapse or periaps, will be at the height that we want our final orbit to be. The other point, in this case the periaps, will be lower because we're doing what's called a dive orbit. We actually start low and we're coming up. If we don't do a dive orbit, if I click here, you can see we can actually launch into a higher orbit like this, and then we slow our craft down. That is often got a bonus of that it actually takes less delta V, but if you're coming in from the surface, you have to get up into the higher orbit, so it doesn't. If you're going to, say, Mars or somewhere like that, you might find that this is a better approach, depending upon how much the O-berth effect affects your capture. So it may be a false economies there. So we're gonna do a dive orbit primarily because I want to actually go from a periaps that's near where we would actually get to. So I'm using this as a guide. Ostensibly is the word I'm going to use. Ostensibly, I'm going to use this as a guide. It does show you the minimum line of sight there, little dotted line. You probably can't see that on the screen, but we can see here that what I've actually done is I've played around with my orbital altitude until my periaps for my dive orbit is actually around 250 kilometers, and I literally did just plug some numbers in and go up and down by a factor of 10, up and down by 0.1, that sort of thing. Just play around with it. It took me about four sort of changes to get it to this, so it's not difficult. I could refine it a bit more, but it doesn't matter. So that's what we're going to be aiming for. The important things for us are the orbital period, the orbital altitude, the periaps. Okay, so we need to keep those in mind. So let's go back to the VAB, remembering this delta V of 700, okay, that's important. Right, let's go back to the VAB. Right, so here we are in the VAB, and I've loaded up Sat1 COM120. This is one of the satellites we launched recently, and we're going to use this as a basis, but we're not going to send up 4 of them independently. We're going to send it up in one go, because I like just deploying them as networks like that. So we're going to get rid of everything here. We're going to rename this. So this is going to be early com. And then what is the requirement for our mission? Let's have a check. You've got to make sure you got the right payload for this. So we need to have 125, and it needs to be units of com payload. Early com 125. Okay, we can save that. Now, because I'm building 4 of them, I'm not as worried about tooling costs. I'm more worried about delta V. So this thing actually does have the delta V required to do this mission. But I'm actually going to change it a little bit. We're going to take off some of these RCS ports and things like that because, you know what? Because we can, more than anything else. So we've now got rotation from those. We're gonna shrink this down because I actually want it to have a capacity of about 125. So we're gonna, first of all, turn it to service module 3. There we go. That's nice. So that's gonna save us something to start with, and we're just gonna shorten it. Just make it shorter. 125 is what we're going to. So I'm looking here, 135. Okay, we leave it like that actually. So that's that done. You can see our solar panels are now stupid large. We've now got even more delta V, so we could actually shrink down our tanks a little bit if we're going to be like that. If we're going to change things, we might as well go for the whole hog. There we go. For that, take that down. That's 900. Take it down. It's a bit too far. Let's go 350. There we go. Go to a number that I might use again. Right, that's 800. Okay, that's not bad, is it? It says 800, but we haven't got much orientation control on there. So we're gonna take some of our, and I don't think I showed you me building this. So this is actually probably a good thing to show you. We're gonna look around. We're gonna see have we got any quad cores. That's nice. Yeah, we'll have some quad cores. So these are going to allow me to basically orientate the craft a little bit. And if I put them on the corners like that, they'll give you forward, backwards, roll, and all sorts. But I don't really want to put them there. I really want to put them in the middle up here. So we're going to take off the solar panels for a little bit. Drop that down. We're going to put these. How do I want to do this? I could either put 4 at one end and rotate around axis. These potentially can do roll and all sorts, can't they? Oh, actually, that's an idea. You know what? That is an idea. Let's just see. Can I just do this? This would be ideal actually. Just put one of those up there. Put that there for the now. Right. So we know these work. We know these have got what we need. They're currently set up for roll, but we could actually have them in pitch and yaw. We could even do dorsal ventral with it. We could actually put everything on it. They won't do fore and aft, but we can fix that. So I need 4 of those, don't I? There we go, 3, 4. Now I know this is probably overkill, but we're going to do it anyway. So that's 4 of those, 4 of those, and I bet you know what? Get rid of those because I've made changes to the bottom one. So check the bottom one is the one that I'm doing. Yeah, that's the one I want. I'm going to clone that, Alt, clone it, stick it on the top there. There we go. That looks much more thingy. And again, we don't have any, we don't have internal RCS on this, which is something I'm trying to move away from because people complain. Oh, I was so tempted to press that. Do we need fore and aft? That is the question. We have this engine. We can roll the craft round, I believe. Yeah, we can roll the craft in every direction. So do I actually need? Do I need fore and aft? Because I've got that engine that's going to be relightable. Let's just check that it is okay. It is wonderful. It's got hydrazine, has it? No, it's got HTP. You can see our delta V's gone actually up because I've taken these off. So now we're going to put these back on. 4 of them, thank you. We might make those a bit bigger actually. Do we need science on this thing? We have got science on it at the moment, so we could strip that off because we're not trying to do science. We're trying to basically lighten everything down as much as possible. There we go. Do that. There we go. I always like to put these on the correct one. So there we go, just in case there's a little glitch there or something. So there we go. That's that done. And that has, interestingly, I've put the panels on. So we've still got over that. I might increase that tank size just for a smidgen to give me, you know what? Got 400. What was our? That still requires tooling. When does it stop requiring tooling? There we go. That is a lot of delta V. What's the mass of it though? Okay, 0.6. What is our avionics for? 0.0. You know what? There, let's do that. So let's put this at whatever it was for tooled. What's the maximum go for tooled? Oh, it goes a long way up actually, doesn't it? So let's go to 475. That's a nice one to go for. Right, it's within our tooled range. And I think that's us done. We need to have a look at our electric. This is going to be generating around Earth about twice as much as we need, which is not actually as much as I want. So I want to go wider. So how wide are these? These are 750. So we're going to take this to 750. There we go, 750. That gives us a bit of space. And technically, I don't like them overhanging like that, but yeah, we're going to raise their tech level. Oh, actually, does that? Well, we get a big jump there. That's nice. That's good. We like that. Right, so that's ready. We're going to reposition these in a minute. Now we need to think about what are we actually doing regarding signal, because this thing is going to be communicating. So this is the how to not, oh, actually got deep space on there. I could improve it. Let's do that. Yeah, let's do that. It's better. Right. That's going to take a chunk of stuff because of whatever. I'm going to change that to about 2000. There we go. I don't know how long that's going to last. How long does that last in the dark? And you can do this. You can just check in the dark. 1 day in the dark. That's fine. Right. Oh, actually, don't do that. We want to actually put the antenna on. Let's say the antenna is transmitting and we're in the dark. 9 hours. That's fine. And our avionics is on, is it? Let's just check. Is the avionics actually active? Where's my avionics button gone? Activate avionics. Oh, that's going to have an impact, isn't it? Yeah, 17 hours. Oh, hold on. Shut down avionics. Oh, that's the wrong one. There we are. So, shut down avionics. Activate avionics. Okay, it cuts it in half. What's our thing like if we do that? Shut down, it's fine. Okay, so it's got 17 hours if the avionics are on, but they're going to shut down because they are wonderful like that. So we're going to activate them because we're going to launch it with the avionics on, because, you know, I keep making mistakes. Right, so let's get on with the difficult, well, not the difficult bit, the bit that we haven't really looked at. We've got all this antenna stuff here, so I'm going to close that. We're going to pull this to one side, and I'm going to bookmark it. There we go. We can close that for now. And we're going to have a look at where are we? Where's my antenna planner? So, upgrade antenna planner. Right. Primary and peers. We're going to actually use this craft. So we're going to put this one, and then we're going to put it again. I don't want ground station. I want a vessel, and I'm going to choose itself. There we go. Oh, we've taken our solar panel off. There we go. Right. So we're going to choose ourself. So we're currently going from the fixed one that we've got on there to another one, and we want to put a distance in. Now we know that our apoapse is going to be, you know, 3,800 kilometers. We want to go worst case scenario, so let's go imagine that's 4,000 kilometers and make it 8 is our max range. There we go. What is that going to do for us? Is that going to do anything? In fact, you know what, let's make that. Okay, that's interesting. We're not actually, now that's interesting, we're not getting a change here. Do I need to put plan? Yes, we do. We need to put plan. So you can see at that range we do have a signal. What if we go to a little bit more than that? What if we go to, you know, add a 20 in there? What if we plan that? Still got a signal. Not bad. What about 25? Still got a signal. Now, we could reduce this down, make it less strong. We know that actually this will transmit to the moon, back to the base and so forth. This is going to be fine for us. If you're really trying to squeeze it, you can reduce that transmission power down. You can do all sorts of stuff with it. We're not going to worry about that. That's not a problem. So we're actually quite happy with that. That should work according to what it's showing me. Of course, you know, reality and what we see is sometimes entirely different. So let's fix this now. So let's have a look. One day like this, let's turn our avionics off so that we can actually do those. Where, oh, I've lost my avionics and shut down the avionics. Right. It says perpetual. Lovely. Right, we're actually doing not too bad there. So we want to leave it on that. The problem I have is we may not charge up brilliantly when we're on the light side. We may not have enough charge for that. So I ideally want my production to be twice my consumption, just because that's the way I am. Because we're going to spend a certain amount of time, you know, in the dark. So let's have a look. Can we make this better? Can we change this? What's our current mass? Our current mass is 0.6 tons. So we could actually take this down to, let's say, 0.75. And we're going to have 0 in the tank. We're going to apply that. Okay, it doesn't save us much, but, you know, whatever. Transmission, we know that that's not going to transmit all the time, and that's going to have a massive impact, so that's fine. So actually, I think I'm all right with that. I think we're going to be okay with that. These panels are going to degrade, but they're not the first generation, so that's a positive. And then we just need to offset this a little bit. So we're going to take this, and we're going to offset it just in a bit. In fact, first of all, just check it's lined up. It is. What you can do is put it onto this thing, and then it'll just, there we go, moves it in. And we're going to just pull that down. I want it to be down towards the engine a bit. There we are. And then we're going to pull it in just a smidgen like so. And I think that is where I want to be. Yeah, just to leave a little gap there. That's lovely. I mean, in reality, we wouldn't have it like this because this is now firing into the back of the solar panel, but I'm not too fussed about that. You know what? We haven't got that implemented in KSP yet, so not a problem. So we're going to save that. And then what we'll do is I will put a decoupler on the bottom of here. We'll turn this into a sub-assembly, and we'll put it on top of a craft. So yeah, join me for that bit. So here we are with the Javelin, well, the Explorer 3 on the Javelin 4. So what we're going to do is, first of all, we're going to rename that before I do anything. And this is going to be early comms. Comms. We're going to call this early comms 1. There we go. Just there we go. Nice and simple. So we can save that. That means if we make any changes, it's not a big issue. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, why are you going to use this thing to do all this? Why don't you just, you know, because I can, primarily. We've got a craft here that's actually going to be capable. So we're going to get rid of our top bit there. We're going to get rid of these solar panels. Don't want those. So there you go. We've got our little structure here. This is our this up here is our avionics section. We know that's got 4.1 tons controllable mass. So we'll take that off for a second and have a look at this. This has a mass of a 3.7. Now, if I put all of these bits on, that's going to be too much. It's going to be far too much. It's going to be too much mass for that. But we don't need this thing to have all this delta V. This is just going to be ideally to get us into the right position, to get us into the right sort of starting orbit for them to do other things. Potentially, we could actually just send that thing up and hope that it actually takes it. In fact, I'm very tempted to do it. In fact, you know what? I think we might just go straight with that. Yeah, let's try that. It's probably going to go wrong, but we'll give it a go. So we're going to reroute all of this to about here. Great, we'll get rid of this top section. There we go. And what we're going to do now is we're going to be a little cheaty. I want to get something to attach my satellites onto here. So I'm actually going to we're going to get a structural bit. Have we got a little tiny, there we go, cubic octagonal strut, the champion of all struts, and we're going to put 4 of those on. We're going to have them point upwards. There we go. So we're going to leave them where they are right now, and we're going to go back and get our little probe. Where are we? We are early comms or 1, and there we go. So we've got 4 of those. We're going to plop those on top of there. It takes a while because, of course, thinking time for the computer. Thank you very much. No, I'm not done it. Try again. Try again. So we've now got those attached, and they're in an odd sort of arrangement. They're sticking through the side of there. We want to try and pack them in quite tight. First thing to do is actually just check where are our decouplers and everything. I think, yeah, so that's there. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to pull this into its separate node because we don't want to decouple those octagonal struts or anything like that. I'm going to put that like that, and we're going to rearrange these a little bit. We're going to be a little clever about it. So first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to put this, we've got this on this snap toggle thing. We're going to rotate all of these round like so. Perfect. And then we're going to move them as well. So we're going to move them towards the middle, and you'll see what we're trying to do is just pack them in a little bit. Oh, look at that. There's that beautiful. It's like we designed it. We could go a little closer, but we'll not bother. So we'll put that down. What I actually like to do is just pull that down there. I know they're hanging in midair, but just imagine there's some cables there or something. There we go. Right. Now, we should be fine for avionics. This thing doesn't have much control, but again, all we're looking for is a rough final altitude, and that should be able to do that for us. If it doesn't, well, we've got a set of craft that are in orbit that are doing other things for us, so that's not a big problem. There we go. What we'll do is we'll get into orbit, and then these will detach straight away because I need them to not have the power drained from here. We'll decouple them all straight away, and then we'll just basically control them individually, and we'll go around our orbit and do all that sort of stuff. So that's good. That's sorted. This orbit does not need to be perfect. Okay, there's one thing we need to remember. This does not need to be a perfect communication system first time out. So we're going to pop that onto there. Wonderful. We're going to save that. And then we're going to have a look at our toolings for this. So we do have a bit of tooling going on. So let's see, what's it going to do? it goes down from 300 days to 134. So okay, that's not bad. We're gonna tool this. It's gonna cost us 13,000. Oof, that's a lot. But you know what? Lots of avionics units, things like that, could be worse. It's taking a big chunk out of our earnings potentially, but we're getting more stuff. We've got now service module 3 being used. The first of each one of those often costs you a bit. So this thing should be ready to go. Its delta V is crazy, so it's not going to be a problem getting anywhere. In fact, no, I'm going to leave these on because yeah, you need to have those on. It potentially could launch without the side boosters. It is well below mass though, so that's good. So we're fine with that. We should not have a problem. So we're going to save that. We're going to build. I think I'm going to build 2. So let's just do unlock that cubic. I'm going to unlock the cubic octagonal strut because that's vitally important. Build 2 of those, and yeah, let's go back to the main screen. All right, so back on the main screen, one thing I do want to just talk about is, yeah, we have this research and development, and I'm going to actually spend the 500 on it. I was going to hold off until we'd actually got our 2nd generation capsules and things done. I'm going to spend it because it's going to take you know 100 days to do. So that's you know, get that done, get it out the way. It's going to speed up give us a little bump for our research speed. It's just going to be helpful. So that's underway. Yes, I know I am currently sitting on an Icarus craft there, so we could send that up. We're also sitting on these that are going to be finished before this early comms, and potentially these landers and things like that. I don't mind actually building up. This is not a perfect playthrough. This is, you know, this is 1964, and we have yet to actually do much interesting stuff with crew. We ain't going to land on the moon by 1969, I'll tell you that. But we're gonna experience this. We're gonna go through the journey. If you want to see a really fast start to a series, go and have a look at Express to Orbit. The 1st season is out. The 2nd season is coming out soon. 1st season is only rockets. So if you're terrified by planes and things like that, only rockets. And although I think we get into First Orbit 1953. I think potentially, was it 1954? You can even go quicker, and I do mention in the playthrough where that is the case. The 2nd series is going to come out. It's going to be a little different. It's gonna have a few more limitations and some things that people sometimes choose to do that speedrunners don't try to do. But if you're not speedrunning and you still want to get through the early game, then it might be helpful for you. So we will go forward 130 something days. It's going to be 1965 it'll be when we launch this, and then we'll get on with it. So I will see you in quite a while. But we are now well into 1965, and interestingly, there's been a lot of science. We've had science coming in. I was trying to figure out where it was, and then I realized it's from our orbital perturbation. So that's just ticking off quite nicely. You can see normally 9 years and however many days, it's just working itself around, slowly working down, getting all the stuff done. Not as quickly as I'd like. I think we've got a lot of craft that have got no electricity or poor communications when they do have electricity, and then they run out of electricity and can't transmit and all sorts of things like that. So this system might actually help us a little bit. We might actually get some more data off them. However, that's just ticking away there. You can see we've taken probably almost 20% of it's gone, which is quite nice. So that's nice, and that has actually given us some upgrade points, which we can plop into our R&D, get that up a bit more because I'm still concerned about how low R&D is. We do have a bit of money. We've also completed our latest tech in communications, so I think we can now buy that. We can, and I'm going to. I think it's gonna. Yeah, we'll just do that. We'll buy it. So that's going to allow us, I believe, to communicate out to Mars. So now we need to actually, while we're here, let's have a look and see, can we get a transfer to Mars? We need to go to Earth. That's where we need to be. We need to be on Earth. So we're on Earth and we want to go to Mars. Let's have a look. That's going to be, okay, so that's going to be in 2 years. Oh, well, that is a long wait actually for a decent Mars transfer. So we've probably missed it by about 50 days there, or 25 days. That's annoying, but well. We may want to start thinking about Jupiter, because sending something out to Jupiter now would probably be advantageous. Anyway, we're going to roll out our craft. We're going to launch it. I will see you on the launch pad. I'll probably get it up. In fact, you know what? I will see you mid-launch, because you don't need to see me launch this thing. But we'll do it once we get into the orbital type sphere. So off we go. Right, so you join me on our way to orbit, and you can see I've got a time warp on at the moment. We're going to actually knock that down in a little bit. I'm actually trying to get my apoaps up to about 250. That's what we're actually aiming for with this launch. Apoapsis about 250 would be perfect. I don't know if we're actually going to get it because that's where I've sort of calculated with the orbital, resonance calculator. That's where I want to be. It's not vital. This thing is not sort of a geostationary system. It's not even equatorial. We're actually launching this thing, at the 28 degrees that the Cape is at. It's not going to be an equatorial sort of structure. We're not too worried about it. This is just our first communication system. It doesn't need to be perfect. Doesn't need to be perfectly evenly spaced. It'd be nice if it was, but doesn't really have to do anything like that. So we just need to be aware of that. What I'm actually doing now is I'm keeping an eye on these times, and I think we want to go a little bit flatter. We want to go a little bit flatter and go down a bit, yeah. So we're going to continue that. I'm actually going to point it down just a little bit because we're going to gain a little bit of altitude on our periaps. The one big thing we're going to be looking at is this apoapse. When we circularize, we want this to be about 3,800 kilometers, okay? That's going to be the key to us because that's something that we cannot fix as easily. This bottom bit, not a big issue for me. This is not something that we're too worried about. We want to bring this down a bit now, a bit more. Okay, keep going, down, 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 down. You can see we're at a reasonable altitude. It's not going to be a perfect, orbit for what we're targeting, but it's going to be fine, I think. The main concern I have now is time to apoapse. We want to get that down because, yeah, that could give us a little bit of a wonky orbit that I wouldn't be too happy with. So we want to get that down just a smidgen, get that time down, and then we'll zero it out again. Because we do have a lot of extra delta V on this craft, so it's not a big killer for us. And you can see we're losing a bit of our apoapsis height there, but it's not terrible. And then we just go back to zero there. There we go. Right. So now we just got to be ready for cutting our engines at roughly the right time. You can see we're gaining a bit of apoapsis altitude again. This is going to keep going down. Hopefully we could actually point this down just a little bit more, and it's just about playing with it a little bit. We're not concerned about inclination or anything like that. That's not a big problem for us. We can see our periaps is coming up now, so we need to be aware of that. When that periaps basically bottoms out, that's when we're going to be problematic. So about, yeah, we need to go zero now. Right, so now we're looking at this number. The apoapsis is now king. Right, apoapsis is going up, and we're going to go for 3.8 is what we're looking for. So 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. Okay, that's nice. That's not bad at all, actually. That is not bad at all. So because this currently, oh, of course we've got the orientation on that, which is nice. What we could do is, let's put us in the normal orientation. That's not a bad idea, is it? There we go. Yeah, you sort that out. So that will actually help us a little bit, because these things will then hopefully get a bit of sunlight. And then what we're going to do is, we're going to do, what are you doing? Why is he rotating? I've got force roll on, that's why. Okay, that's very nice of it. So there we go. So that's us in orbit, and we can actually have a look at it. Let's have a look. So at the moment we're losing electric charge reasonably. It's not terrible. This stage up here is a standard. Oh, it's tank that. Where is it? Here we are. We've got I think this is just a standard near Earth core, so it's actually going to drain electricity quite considerably, and these solar panels will not provide for it. So what we'll do is we're just going to decouple those, jump across to them, and they're just going to do what they need to do. So this is this the one that I'm on? Yeah, avionics. Let's activate. And we're going to activate this one as well. Can we use this one? Hello, which one am I on? This is the one I want. Activate that one. I want to do this one. Which one's this? Is going to be the front one. I should have done this all before we did it. I thought I actually activated the avionics. That's interesting. I actually thought I had activated all of the avionics before we started. And you'll see they're actually just going to stay pretty much aligned. There we go. That is going to keep annoying me for a while. So we're at periaps right now. We're going to accelerate to apoapsis, and then the first of our craft will do a burn and circularize at apoapsis. So what we're going to do is we're going to just, I'm going to do this manually. We just get a bit forward a bit there. There we go. Right, we want to come to about here. We want to warp there. There we go. And we can actually have a look. Are these going to, yeah, they're actually, oh, batteries are getting low in the comms. Oh, because that's the actual craft itself. You see they're actually going to, oh, please tell me they don't clip each other. That's one of the big problems with time warp, isn't it? Yeah, okay, we're okay. Right, so this one needs to be prograde. There we go, thank you. It's going to bump into its sibling. Now, in reality, they would have moved away from each other quite nicely. They have not, because this is, of course, Kerbal, and you know, things like that don't happen. So there we go. This thing's going to be in prograde. We're gonna hit apoapsis in about what, 30 minutes? Okay, that's interesting. Oh, it's slowed down because of time warp. So we're going to come to about here. We're going to, actually, you know what, let's put a maneuver in. Let's just put a maneuver in there. There we go. Add maneuver. There we go. Do that all the way out. And yeah, there we are. Do that again. What we could do is just get a good look at this and say, are we actually on it? Yes, we are, right. There we go. Sorted. Perfect. I'm not going to worry too much about this. So what I'm going to do is we're going to burn this one, and then I'm going to go and do the others off camera. And you can see what we're doing. Right, so this burn time is going to be about 6 minutes. It's actually a very long burn for this. So I will probably not force you to watch that. And you can see, obviously, we're at a funny little angle there. Our batteries are going to run down slowly over the time. Our avionics is off. We've got really almost no communications going on. So this thing's just going to orientate itself. I will do the burns. And then when these have all been circularized, because you don't need to see me do 4 circularization burns, we'll have a look at how the system is looking. And I'll also rename these as well so they actually come up on the screen properly. So we're going to put that onto node. There we are. And I will see you in, for you, what will be like a moment of seconds. And for me will be probably about 30 minutes of doing orbital mechanics, which is, yeah, fun. So I will see you in but a moment. Right, you find as I've come back after doing the first burn, just because I wanted to talk to you about something. So if we actually, I'm now putting this in the normal position just so that the solar panels always get light when they're in the opportunity of getting light, and we can see the RCS burning through the solar panels there. That's not at all a problem. So the one thing I'm actually going to say is, at this point, I would write down this number. So we've got an orbital period of 2 hours, 51 minutes, and 9.41 seconds. Okay. If you want your craft to stay evenly spaced, these two numbers are not really that important, apoapsis, periapsis. The important one is this orbital period. That means that this craft will return to the same space every 2 hours, 51, right? If we have these apoapsis and periapsis very similar between our craft, but this is different, they will drift towards or away from each other as they go through each orbit. So if it's a shorter period, it will basically get ahead or fall behind, and vice versa. So that's the number we're really going to be looking at. We know they're all going to have roughly the same apoapsis, so that the periapsis should end up roughly the same, depending upon, you know, when we do our burns and things like that. So the orbital period is key here. We don't really mind. We know we're going to roughly have the same sort of altitude. The orbital period is going to be key. So I'm going to go away and do all the others. We're also going to rename these. So let's have a look. Let's rename this. Rename vessel. Don't hit range safety. We're going to change them to be relays. And we're going to turn them into, this is going to be Ecom 1. There we go. Ecom 1. Nice and easy. Right, I'm going to go and grab the others, put them into their orbits, and we can have a look at the whole thing when it's done. Right, you find me with our final ComSat in orbit, and we can actually we can get rid of that node there. And what I'm actually doing is, because we don't have forward and reverse RCS, and I want to get this really, really accurate, we do have the ability to translate in all directions. So we're going to just use we put it on the normal, and we're going to use the translation controls just to refine this. So I'm looking to get to, oh, there we go, 2 hours, 51 minutes, 9 seconds, 0.41. So there we go, that's that done. So now it's got to leave this for 2 days and yeah, let it spin around the planet. What we can do is have a look at here. I've actually got the satellites set up. Oh, thank you very much. So we've got one here down at the periapsis, Ecom 1. Then we've got Ecom 2, Ecom 3, Ecom 4. If we put this on, you can see connection to the ground. Let's have a look. There we go. These here are the orbital perturbations. They're actually on a highly inclined orbit, but you can actually see we've got a very weak signal between these craft. So they're able to transfer that signal less, which is good, which means we should be able to use them as sort of a comm system, firstly around the planet, but for our craft in low Earth orbit, they should be good. So anything that's around here should get connection to this comm, anything around here to this one. and it's actually going to be half this distance it's going to be traveled. So that's a positive for us. So let's get back. I'll go for the 2 days or whatever we have to wait, and then I'll see you back at the main launch site. So here we are back at the Space Center. Oh, please pull that up. And we have completed the early communications network for satellites. Get 250,000 funds in there. That's given us a little healthy top up there. And that's going to be the end of this episode. Next episode, I'm not entirely sure what we're going to do. I have to have a look at some missions. Thank you very much, Jane. I have to have a look at some missions. We may do some crewed stuff, maybe some crewed orbital, just to get some of those craft out of the way. Yes, thank you very much, June. And I don't know, we have a few contracts we could do. We could maybe try the Molniya orbit. We could do a sun synchronous. We could do another lunar landing. We could, put together a Mars craft maybe. Maybe we'll do that over a few episodes in the background or something. Again, it'd be good to get your feedback. Do you want to actually see, for example, a Mars flyby? Do you want me to just put bits in each episode, or do you want a single episode of it? Particularly for the Jupiter things and stuff like that, I think we're going to have to spread it out, because I'm not going to hold off on showing you the Jupiter mission for 3 years or something while it travels through space. So that's going to be that. So from me, until next time, comment down below, like down below, tell me what you want to see, tell me what the next steps are. Are we going too slow? Should we be just pushing on with crew to the moon? Should I have pushed Gemini? Should we have Gemini really moving forward? So yeah, please comment down below, and until next time, have a great one.